Hi there, I'm greeting you warmly today. For those of you, I'm Joanna Pilatovic, and those who don't know me yet, this is about connecting the little bit from the science, from what's happening, pragmatic way of living, consciousness, psychology, plus spiritual aspect of it, and how can we connect it with unknown, with mysterious part of our life that some of us experience, some of us claim we see it, but we cannot measure it in a sense of science, at least not yet. So, the main question for today is about power. How much power do we really have? Uh, what does it mean to feel powerless, power within us, or powerless? And to what degree we can really influence ourselves and our reality. And these questions were already asked, and they are keep on asking for centuries. And a lot of videos I of course watched about it, read many books about it. I keep following the science and psychobiology and social psychology, and we are having some sort of a way of getting an idea how much power do we really have. And we all know it depends where we are born, what country, what society, what kind of bringing up. All these factors are well known that this influences our self of feeling powerful in life or feeling powerless. Right. And I, when I was a teenager, I always was thinking like we are, no matter what our upbringing, we have 100% of influencing our reality. We can create everything we want. We just have to work hard and manage it. And a lot of universities are claiming that this is true. Later on, I came across many students that they had all these idealistic um, ways of thinking, and then their dreams were sort of crashing. They didn't go to the right university. They had debt, especially in America, because in Poland, the time when I was studying, you could still win and go for free to the university, and you had no debt. And most of our us students at that time, we were probably not aware of our higher rank to going into life, adulthood, without having debt. I only figure out what kind of privilege that was when I was speaking with people who had debt for another 20, 30 years of their adulthood, how they were already chained in a sort of a system. So, what kind of feeling power, personal power, you can maintain within yourself? How do you really create your reality? Because it seems like the system already designed that for you, and the education system also did it. And there is some misunderstanding about this belief. You can totally create your reality. Can you really? And then we had all these secret, great book actually, very optimistic, and just by reading you can have this boost of optimism. When you feel like you can create your reality, you just have to think positive. Is that so? So later on in life, when I encounter, after hard working immigration to two other countries, I am currently in Germany, I was in the Netherlands, and I started to slowly realize that, oops, not everything depends on me. And I started to study not only science, not only everything I learned during my university, but also astrology, any kind of, um, I would say science because I consider astrology as a science, but anything that would reveal me from the ancient, from philosophy, what it means to have a power, why some people work hard and other people seem to not do much, and then they have this extraordinary, seemingly from outside, power. And I was thinking that, well, we are free, we have a free will, so perhaps it's because only disciplined mind can achieve that and can really have benefits from that personal power we have. And other people are not so good at it, so I just need to focus better. I just need to prepare better. And I was studying, I was doing exactly that, and it still was not working. And what's more, I was meeting people that it wasn't quite working for them. They were working really hard, but they didn't go to the universities they wanted to go. They didn't get a job they wanted to get. They didn't go to the places. Something went sort of behind them. Something was whether scheduled for them or programmed for them. They had a feeling they could not control it no matter how hard they tried. They had this feeling that everything was going against them, and it's like they were pushing against that current. So I had a period of time when I was thinking like, we maybe can influence 3% of our life. It's predestined. Maybe that is the true. We have a soul plan, and the only power, the only free will we have is laying in reacting to the content that is presented to us. I have learned that to improve your percentage, according to astrology, and that is actually my experience, the relocation is crucial to changing your chances of percentage of how much personal power and power in the world and feeling power you can have. Um, what's interesting these days, I think about it a little bit different, because when you trace your own life and life of people that you know good, you know well, more or less these are your clients, your friends, your co-workers, and you know a little bit more about them. You know them for years, so you can have a certain analysis about their life. And what I've noticed is that these people had less or more power in the different phases of their life and in the different spots on earth they were living in. So that's the interesting thing, because perhaps sometimes we have 20% of influence on what's happening, other times maybe zero. According to astrology, there is an interesting factor, because when Saturn is making its way and sits in someone cosmogram in someone's chart on the not so good positions, then it makes your work having no impact in the world. You basically are not visible. And I went through that period myself, and I could not really believe it. And of course, some astrologers said, okay, this year it's coming out. You don't have to do anything. You are going to be visible. That happened, sure. But the other factor is that following these cycles, if someone doesn't have to believe in astrology, but you can check this out, especially if you have a similar questions, if you are trying to do some changes in your life, if you're not quite satisfied, you can follow the idea of relocation and aspects. What months are good for you to act and what kind of action? Because these years when I had no impact or nothing at all, or I could not, I could go to the dance class and I was not even visible that I was there. So that was the most peculiar thing that ever happened to me. You basically were feeling like a ghost. And later on, when this aspect passed, I didn't do particular anything different. I just was in a new community among people from different backgrounds, different university expats people, and they were much older than me that time, 20, 30 years older, and whatever I said, they were taking as a wisdom. That was also a peculiar experience for me, because I didn't think that time that I'm particularly wise or I have something even important to say. I just noticed something and I thought I'm just going to tell them about it. And since they asked, of course, mm, so this may be perhaps is a new idea of how much power you can have. Of course, we already know that according to the scientists, and there is a lot of enormous great studies in the different universities in the world, And I admire especially Professor Daher Keltner, if I pronounce his name right, work about power. And he claims that now these days it's not about Machiavelli being violent with power and abuse. Now it's more about being honest, empathetic, and sharing the knowledge, sharing idea, helping each other, creating the community. Um, and I halfly agree with that because that's what happened in my life. If I achieved anything, any project, it was exactly that, in a good um, feeling groups that I could cooperate, that I felt good. Um, but considering what's happening in the world, I am a little bit concerned that the Machiavelli is, after all, not that old strategy for this world. How it is in reality, please let me know. Please comment about it, and I would love to hear and read your ideas about it, your thoughts about it, because I believe that um, connecting it together, putting the dots together, help us collectively have a better quality life right now, and we do not have to experience every pain out there to understand. We can also perceive and learn from other people's experience, and especially the science. So, how much power do we have is predestined, of course, by chemistry of our body, how our brain function, and we all know that. And these are another great research of Professor Jacques Panksepp. I probably don't read his name properly. He's not with us anymore, but he was having enormous research about that we should start taking into account animals' emotions and take them very, very seriously because they are exactly as ours. And if we do not get it, like just those animals, if we do not get this care in our early age, and maybe prenatal, maybe just as psychobiology claims, even before we were born, then we always going to have this harmonious state in our brain. And he particularly was doing research on opium. I heard so far that this is allowed in Israel. I wonder if it's allowed, if someone knows about it. Please tell me if it's allowed anywhere else. And of course, just like anything else, in the right dosage, in the right um, a connection influencing our brain positively. So we get this chemical substance that some of us cannot produce, maybe, or not in the quality, not in the amount we 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 need in order to have this successful or helpful or happy life. Some of us, as neurologist says, they do not produce that, and I hope this will be possible to maintain our well-being but in different forms, because we know that the physical effort helps. We know that the affirmation, the state of mind, psychobiology, genealogy, we have all these tools. uh, but if something is not there in our DNA structure, we cannot really lie that we feel good, that we are kind to everyone. This is the idea, fake it till you make it. How far does it really work? How much fake do we really need in order to change fully our reality? If someone needs to change it from, I don't know, 180 degrees, because as some of you wrote me, it may be um, that hard for some to navigate through what's happening, or even in their life situation, depending on the country where you live, of course. Um, so, yeah, I think we do have that percentage of influencing our life, our reality, and some of us are prepared, whether we want it or not, whether we are conscious of it or not, we are prepared for this role of being a leader. And it takes one person sometimes, and you don't know a day perhaps when you will be the one that in your community the community will need you to lead, to say something, to react and lead some other people, because we tend to wait. We tend to um, just live our life, and some of us are not particular going into those roles of being a leader on purpose or politicians. We just want to have our peaceful life, right? But there is a time when there is a leader in every one of us that um, is probably always ready, and it's preparing, and we never know when that can be. We don't need apocalyptic times for that. I would just give you one example. When I was traveling to Poland, it was minus 16 degrees, and the train, the second train, another 5 hours, we were waiting, and we were jumping from feeling cold, uh, and the train didn't arrive, and another one was in 5 hours, and the new people gathered, and everybody started to run for the place to sit. It was so cold, and I managed to just sit down, and the lady above me started to scream that this is my place, get out of here. And that was the last moment I wanted to lead anyone, and I'm not particularly perceiving myself as this leader, but something within me just acted all right to everyone, and I asked everyone in this um, part of the train to move with me. The wagon was is pretty long in Polish trains, to move with me toward the beginning of the train, and there is a space for everyone. I didn't know that. I happened to be right. And people followed me, and you see, sometimes it takes this one person who can propose something, and we are now separated very much. We cannot touch each other, having a conversation where we are using touch, and touch is one of these factors that is enormously healing for us to function, to have that boost. And this, the professor, um, the name I cannot really pronounce, I'm very sorry for that, Professor Panksepp, he was exactly showing how crucial is that touch when the little chicken is not having the mother around, and just by taking it in your hands, it stops to cry. And we do need that on a regular basis, not only when we are very young, but we need some sort of that comfort, because it produces a certain substances in our brain, whether it's dopamine, and I would love to invite someone to review me more about it, because I'm not biochemist. So I would love to know more about it, how it works, what can we do exactly. But for today, what we know for sure, what all of us know for sure, and what we probably need to keep reminding ourselves, is to realize those moments when we do feel powerless, and to stay, to change that, the impact of that, by anything that is in our power to change, whether it's a movement, whether it's a connection with other, whether virtually or meeting, keeping the distance, however you would like it, or you have the group that you are um, on everyday basis, you are working together or being in a bigger family, and then you can keep offering this form of touch, being together, even the simple gesture, it has enormous calming effects on us. Just putting a hand on our shoulders, that is the most one of the most important factors, that no matter what, we should not lose that, because this is also boosting our immune system, especially now. So I hope this made some sense. Some of the people on the Polish side were asking about power of prayer, and the power of affirmation, power of spell. Some were saying in a form of magic, and the spell and the magic, and from the, of course, my outer imagination, I I can say that as much as power in a political sense in a world is to influencing other people, whether giving them means or taking away means from them, the spell is to influence your whole reality by doing different gestures, words, saying prayers, and so on, so on, so on. And some people were asking what's more important, is it the word? uh, I would say that the most important is your intention, because again, you cannot lie to the structure of your cells, and your intention is far more important than words. Although the ancient languages, the languages like even Latin now and Hebrew, they are claimed to have more power than other languages. Mm, some people in my past, they were using a typical form from Catholic Church, and they were doing pretty bad things with it, having very bad intentions. So I was kind of laughing that time, like, okay, you do more cursing and spelling in a bad way than praying to God. So these kind of prayers, when someone say, oh, let the God put that negative thing on someone or whatever, because I think he deserves that, right? So, whatever are the words, is your intention definitely that matters more um, than the words you are saying. Okay, I think this is it for today. Whatever you are going out through, do not stay alone. Um, do this reality check on yourself daily, because we are in an energy field, we are non-locally connected, telepathically connected with, and I think many people would agree with that already. And but even if you don't, uh, the chemistry of our body can influence us with a different thoughts, different emotions, and asking yourself a question: is that really my thought? Where is that coming from? If you don't believe particular that you are telepathic and you are experiencing pain of your best friend that is going to call you in 5 minutes, which can happen, then definitely the process, the chemical process in our body can influence powerfully our way of thinking. And this is nothing new and nothing anyone could probably argue with. So do that daily. And if you do think about changing the reality that is really, really hard for you right now, and those sessions you took, as some told me, with psychobiology, something has changed, but it didn't come to the core of that. You cannot change that reality. It's really hard. Um, there are those times, according to astrology, when you have to wait through. There are those times when you are having more power because there is like a green light in the universe. But of course, you need an astrologist to know about that, or you need to study it yourself. There is also a feeling that you may deeply have in your body, and these people achieve that in the meditation. The people who meditate, they just breathe and kind of focusing on achieving the point, they call it a point zero, point of nirvana, or however you call it, the moment that you are calming everything, what's happening in your mind, every thought. And then when you ask that one single question, what now? What should I do next? Whatever is the question, the impressions are slowly starting to come to your mind, that they cannot come there earlier because they had no space to come through, because you were basically occupying with sending thoughts, emotions. So you are full of projecting something into the world, and you do receive the content from other people, from the messages, from the word, from news, films, friends, family, communication. But in order to receive the communication from your intuition, then that has to be put aside. And this is the hardest thing to do, probably for some people, to stop thinking, to put aside every content that is interrupting the connection with higher part of yourself, your intuition, or some call it God, higher instance, source, however you call it. So I think that's going to help some of you, let me know about it, how to start navigate through it, how to tap into it, how to daily change that moments and not following the way of powerlessness within ourselves, because this actually shortens our telomeres. I think it's called like that in English, and doesn't help our immunity system, especially now that we need to feel good in order to be healthy, perform better, create a better world for ourselves and our environment. So I'm leaving you with that. Let me know about it, what your thoughts are, and I'm very much looking forward for more inspiration from you. Have a lovely, wonderful day. Bye bye.